Hey guys, so I was really sure what I was going to film this week. So in celebration of my 10-year anniversary, so a decade of Strength and Sunshine, which is on June 26th. It's May 17th right now, so whatever. But I'm like, this is a perfect time to talk about how I got started vlogging. So, yeah, the thing is, I don't know why I chose that day to start. Maybe because it was like the end of school and whatever, but I was a junior, so I think it was before my senior year or before my junior year of school that I started. And yeah, I kind of changed the entire trajectory of my life. So yeah, we'll start from the beginning. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna be cooking dinner, so you get some good food content, and while we're talking about food blogging. And I'll kind of talk about blogging as like a whole, because obviously since 2013, so that's when I started, things have changed so much, and because of social media. So let me get some stuff and I will start, and yeah. Okay, so I loved reading like healthy living blogs. There was like the Healthy Tipping Point, Fitnessista, Peanut Butter Runner, like some of them, these blogs are still alive. I don't even know because I don't follow them anymore. The Healthy Tipping Point, she was the one that I started with. She actually wrote a book, and if you ever heard of Girls on the Run, it's like an organization, a nonprofit for girls and getting them active and stuff at a young age. And so I was reading a lot of runners and a lot of these like personal trainers, and it kind of led me down the rabbit hole of a bunch of other women healthy living bloggers. So as a healthy living blogger, you would literally blog just your daily thing. You blog daily, and it was just talking about what was going on in your life. There would be fun, like what I eat in a day, but in a blog form. So while that's like a huge thing for vlogging, it was even bigger. There was like link ups, and like just it was a big community, and everyone like talked to each other in the comment section of the blogs. I would read, of course, like me, I accumulate things after a while. So just like with my podcast now, I would read like, oh my God, it got into like close to like 50 blogs like a day. You have blog readers. So I use Blog Lovin'. So I was kind of I think Google Blog Reader was what a lot of people used, but that had already like started to shut down or shut down right when I started. But, you know, after reading for a few years, I was like, why am I not doing this myself? And I did get into reading some food blogs because when I got diagnosed with celiac disease, and I just always loved cooking and stuff, but I used to like make a recipe binder and everything. I printed things out with like, you know, yeah. And so I already knew some food bloggers that also were a little more lifestyle-y, like they would talk about lifestyle stuff in their posts. So that's also how I learned to blog, was, you know, let's talk about life in the blog post, although now I regret doing that. But so I started my own blog on a free WordPress.com site. So WordPress.org and WordPress.com are two different things. WordPress.com is free. You can pay to upgrade and like have like your own domain, but WordPress.org is when it's like completely self-hosted. So I started on WordPress.com. I don't know why I chose Strength and Sunshine. I honestly can't tell you. I made my own little logo. It was pink and it had like black dots, I think. I made in like maybe it was, I made in PicMonkey when PicMonkey was free. And yeah, I did like a ABC, like get to know me as like the first post. I started, yeah, just blogging my life. So I literally would write blogs and publish them before I went to school. I remember doing that vividly, and I published 5 days a week. And I remember taking like the shittiest photos with my camera, my phone. I don't even know what I had, some type of Droid probably, and of like my breakfast. And there was no lighting. It was all the yellow lighting in my bedroom where I had this little yellow lamp. The photos, some of them are still on some of these really old recipes on my site, and these recipes are not optimized for SEO whatsoever. And these horrifying photos are on there still. And yeah, like I would make all these fun little, and I always try to do really creative, crazy things. So again, it's not like a recipe that's really accessible to a lot of people, because eventually I started getting sent a lot of like sample products from like companies that wanted me to promote them, and I didn't understand anything about like sponsored posts back then. But I would also like make little workouts and make little graphics of the workouts. I would talk about school and like life and a lot of like weird, vague like yoga stuff. Like all like, oh, crying during yoga and like all these trying to be like really artsy and stuff. I remember talking about my internship that I had at the congressman's office. That was attached to like a protein overnight oat recipe, which I've now optimized. I used to do something called the Friday Finisher, which is like a link roundup of just a bunch of fun articles and other blog posts that I liked. So I promoted a lot of people for free, right? And, you know, it never crossed my mind that, you know, like whatever, but I think that's what also helped me build up such a huge organic community. So people would comment on my blog. I knew everyone in the industry or in this little weird community. Social media hadn't really taken off yet. And then after around the time, I think like 1 to 2 years into college for me, that's when things were like, all right, I need to focus on food and not be talking about everything else, because I started to get inklings of what SEO was. Again, backing up, I don't even know how this went, but eventually I remember my free WordPress.com site, I had already used up like all the bandwidth I had, and I had to start paying. So I was like, you know what, it's time to go self-hosted. So I found some random girl who, or actually no, I think, yeah, she actually has an agency now, but she did my first design for free as like a portfolio thing. And I stuck with that for a while. I think that I used all throughout college. And so that's when I started, when I went self-hosted and I got a little more branding with the yellow and the blue and stuff, that's when I started really only doing recipes for a while. Actually, no, it wasn't. I still did fitness, but I did a little more targeted stuff. However, I still talked about weird stuff in like these yoga posts when I was in college at George Washington. That's when I was still like really just, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And then when I took a gap year and I came home, I think that's when I started really like niching down. Eventually I ended up stopping the Friday Finisher. I would publish twice a week, and somehow I did 2 recipes a week. Again, these posts were not optimized, so it was easy to do. You know, just shooting the recipe, getting a few final shots, no process shots or anything. And I would talk about whatever I wanted. So usually something that, like why I made this recipe and like what it meant to me and different fun things. There was a bunch of other different like communities. A lot of the hubs of like just everything was on Facebook, in Facebook groups. There was a lot of weird collectives, like something called the Recipe Redux, a monthly thing. All these like sporty girl, I kind of fell into a lot of fitness stuff too, because I did some of that. It was honestly my entire life. Like that's all I did, because I don't know, whatever, I didn't have anything else to do. But that's when, because social media wasn't a big thing, I didn't focus on my Instagram account, and so I never grew my Instagram account when it was easy to grow. And this was when like I had sponsorships with like Reebok, and I got a free computer one time from Dell. And these were like I didn't really get paid to post them, but these were like really cool opportunities before these brands understood what sponsored content was and how valuable it actually was. So I'd be like writing them all these blog posts and reviews and like whatever for free, except for like product or whatever. And it was a whole different ball game, and it was easier, you know, it wasn't stressful. And so then, let me think. Yeah, so eventually I just kind of teased out all the rest of the stuff, stopped talking about random things, and it was really just the recipes. And that's when I started learning about SEO. More people got into the space. Social media really took off. And that's when it was like, crap, you know, you either have to make that, you can make a lot of money from it, you know. It's definitely not what we all thought in the beginning, but yeah. Okay, now I can talk a little more. So again, social media wasn't a huge thing. No one really knew what sponsored content was. There were a lot of, this was when the sponsored networks started to like come about. Oh, and there was a huge collective called Fitfluential. And that was kind of how I got like immersed in the fitness culture of blogging. Definitely died out. There were some mom blogs that I follow where they were a lot more kid oriented, but really it was like the lifestyle bloggers. But then we saw people like Pinch of Yum and Sally's Baking Addiction, and they were like solely food bloggers, which really changed the game. And I kind of saw like what posts are bringing in traffic. It was all the recipes and stuff. And this was also when social media was easy to hack, right? So I said, you know, if you were really actively on Instagram with beautiful photos, you were doing good. I was not. I was posting like dark gym selfies in college. And that's how my handle is RebeccaGF666, and it's not Strength and Sunshine, and I can't get that handle anymore, and it's really depressing. But Pinterest was huge. So it was so easy. If you were a food blogger and you were on Pinterest, you're getting traffic. So that's why it's good that I had that. I'm still getting legacy traffic from these old legacy pins. It's hard to grow on Pinterest at all now and getting new traffic unless you're doing paid ads. Thankfully, that was the one channel that I was able to capitalize on. I have a large following and I get traffic from old pins still. It's funny because some old posts that aren't optimized for SEO bring in a lot of traffic. Now I'm seeing them decline and stuff just because Google has changed so much. But yeah, so I never really got big on Twitter. I never really use it. I still understand Twitter really. But Facebook, again, the Facebook groups, a lot of sharing groups. So you would literally go in, you would post you have a new recipe on your blog, a new site, whatever, a new blog post, or like you would have a Facebook post, or you'd have your Instagram post or your pin, and you would like their share thread. So you would like comment your link, and you would have to like either repin, retweet, would comment on everyone else's post that posted on that thread in the Facebook group, or like 3 people above you or 3 people below you. It was all these crazy things, and it literally took up so much time, like crazy amounts. And thankfully, really only the last, maybe right around after like 2020, so around COVID, those groups really just kind of died. They stopped because that kind of engagement, the fake engagement, it doesn't work necessarily. People still do them, and some of those groups that I'm in from like years ago are still active, and I'm just flabbergasted by how some of these bloggers that know better, I don't know why they still do them. They have VAs that do it, so they pay someone in the Philippines $5, like for $5 a day, honestly, to do all these crazy, weird, spammy tactics. And that's how a lot of people grew on Instagram. There'd be comment pods, so the moment someone would post an Instagram photo, you would go and like that and like it and comment. And that's why you see, if you go on to a lot of the big food Instagram accounts that aren't necessarily bloggers, they just post food pictures on their accounts, you'll see that all the comments are from other similar in size food Instagrammers, and they all say like yum or delicious or like something stupid. They're still doing the pods and spamming, and that's how they grew. Also, if you got reshared by like large accounts, you would usually, so like the feed, the kitchen, like any of those kind of things. And there are also there's like bots and weird things that you can like you'd like hundreds of posts in a thread. This is when I got banned from Facebook so many times because you'd be leaving too many links, you'd be doing too much weird spammy things. So I did do a lot of that stuff. Maybe it helped, I don't really know. But yeah, so I'm actually happy that I don't, it's such a breath of fresh air that I don't have to do any of that weird stuff anymore. But now, in terms of food blogging now, it's really, I went to once a week, right? So I was doing twice a week, and then I would do the Friday finisher. I stopped that right away because that's not, you need to be only posting about your niche, to grow and to remain relevant and authoritative in your industry. So I stopped that. All those posts are no index. They're still on there though. I have a hard time deleting content, and I have a hard time updating content because the blog posts that I wrote were stories and my life. So it's weird, and I usually just like copy and paste the whole thing and save it, and I only just started updating posts. But then I went down to 1 new recipe a week, and now I'm only doing 1 new recipe a week every other week-ish. So yeah. But honestly, I would just cook whatever, and I didn't care about the ingredients back in the earlier days. So I would use crazy things like sweet potato flour, like all these expensive ingredients that I was sent, you know, and I didn't have to find in a store. Like, you can't find that stuff in the store, and people are not searching for that. Now it's all about keyword research, you know, the fully optimized posts, step-by-step photos, video, all that kind of stuff. I still am not really big in video. I usually do video like slideshows, and I do take some vertical video now, so I usually use that in there, but you know, whatever. And so I would, you know, cook the recipe, I would shoot 1 shot, that's it. Hopefully the recipe worked, and only final product shots was really what I would do. And then I would go and write the post. It was easier, and I could write whatever I wanted. Now you have to be like researching, answering questions that people are looking for. And let's see, so I started monetizing for like real. I got banned from Google AdSense because there were invalid clicks. They said I was clicking my own ads. I wasn't. I have no idea. I basically got banned from AdSense. I am still banned from AdSense on my blog account. I don't know. I tried to fix it so many times. That was back in the old days. I have no idea. And then I went with Gourmet Ads. So they were an ad network. It was so clunky and probably so bad for the site in terms of like site speed and everything. I was making like a couple $100 maybe a month. And eventually I removed them. I think I had another ad network for a short time. They were spammy, and I think they're the ones who brought the invalid traffic to my site and caused me to get banned from AdSense. I don't know. And then I think I tried to apply to Mediavine. They wouldn't allow me because I was banned from AdSense. However, once you have 100,000 page views a month, you can apply to AdThrive, which they're now called Raptive, which is just stupid. They just changed their name. I don't like it. We're gonna call them AdThrive for now. And I was accepted into that, and I was so worried going through that process that they wouldn't let me in because I was banned from Google AdSense. They never made a comment about it. It was very strange. And so I just like didn't really say anything else. I think I made one comment about it once, and they didn't really seem to worry about it, so whatever. But that's when you start making like the thousands of dollars a month and that kind of thing. So I've been with them ever since, I think for about 4 years now. 4 years, I think. And honestly, once you get with that, that's when you can actually be making like a living off your blog. I still have to go back and just update so much content and delete. I do need to delete content. There's a lot of on-page optimization I know that I have to do, but it is so hard to do that for your own site because it's my baby. It's me. I can't imagine my life any other way. It's opened up every opportunity I've had. So I majored in public health, you know, I didn't major in marketing. However, every job I got was a contract job. It was somehow related to my blog. You know, I always use that as my, you know, I was running a business for all those years, for 10 years now. And that's kind of what gave me, you know, I worked with a blogger, Pinch of Yum. They have multiple businesses. One of them was like WordPress plugins. And that was one thing. I never even had like a recipe plugin for a while. A whole other schema markup for SEO and blog posts. And I ended up doing like some marketing for them and stuff. And it was a freelance basis. And then I worked with AppSumo, another big, huge SaaS company. And then, you know, just other weird contract stuff along with my blog. And I lived at home, so I didn't have to pay rent, you know. I was able to save a lot of money. Everything I made for my blog would be saved. Eventually I got other larger roles, and it was all because of my blog. I never studied marketing. You know, I did it all because I studied and learned it all myself, and I love it, and I read every newsletter under the sun in the industry and the food industry. So I just knew a lot of it, and that's how I was able to build a brand and a education for myself through what I did. And that allowed me to eventually, you know, move here, buy a house, work at a venture capital firm. I'm gonna keep saying it even though they treated me like shit. And just, like, I never would have expected this. I don't really know what I would have done otherwise. Because I know I also need a remote job, you know? I did not want to work in an office. And this was also, so because I was so big into like fitness and stuff, that's when I was like, wow, I want to get my personal trainer certification eventually, like all these other women. And that was in the beginning. However, I also didn't want to monetize every hobby, because obviously now, like, cooking is really stressful. When I'm cooking a recipe, it's not fun, you know, it's stressful. I usually feel good afterwards if the recipe works, but it's not easygoing. So anyway, it's kind of like, people ask like, oh, well, will you stop blogging if you join us for like a job, if I apply to certain jobs and stuff, the more traditional ones? And I'm like, no, like it's not like that. Like I can't imagine my life without it. Like there's no way I could function without it. So yeah, I know that I still don't devote enough time to it, where I'm not making a full-time income from my blog, I'm making like a part-time income. And you know, obviously things ebb and flow. So like we make a lot of income, all bloggers, like Q4 during the holidays and stuff, that's when your traffic's really high up. So I make a lot more money towards the end of the year than right now, you know. It's starting to pick up a little bit. It's anytime there's like a holiday. So like the day before Mother's Day, we saw a lot of traffic. It really just depends. And you know, it's like time where, you know, I made that cookbook and now it's not being sold anymore. I should be making digital products. You know, I tried to offer coaching at one point, but it's like, there has to be something else, but I'm also like it's weird that I struggle to really treat it like a business, like really, you know? And I don't know, that's why I think part of me still wants it to be more fun and just passive, but it can't really be passive at this point. And now I'm like, it's gotta work. And so that's why I only recently started optimizing older posts. However, I don't feel like it's helping. So that's when I need to hire help. But now I'm in a situation where I don't want to like spend excess money on anything. So yeah, that's where we are. So a decade in, and you know, some people blow up and literally are making like multiple six figures within like a year or two of vlogging. And I've been doing this for a decade. Now, yes, I did it during college. I did it when I didn't have like a husband to like pay for everything, you know? My circumstances and my story is totally different. But still, it's been a decade and it's kind of embarrassing. So, do I suggest starting a blog now? I don't know. And now with AI, it's really scary because we don't know what it's gonna look like in a few years. Like all of our blogs, however, it depends, like recipes, AI can't make you a good recipe. Especially I'm so like gluten-free, allergy-free. Come on, no. So we're gonna have to see what happens, but it's, you know, it's no one really knows at this point. So I was probably really rambly. I think now I'm gonna have to do part 2, and you're gonna have to ask me questions because I kind of gave you the broadest overview of everything. But let's just say it's been a wild ride, and I can't believe it's been 10 years. But maybe it can be because it feels like I've been doing it my entire life. Like the only time I remember not blogging was like when I was a kid. But my whole like adult life and teen life, like that was it. That's all. And that's why it's very easy. But like if you ask me, how do you start a blog right now? Like I don't really know. I mean, I guess you'd start free, and then I honestly have no idea. Like it's been so long and things have changed so much. So yeah, I'm gonna stop here because I'm just rambling now. But please leave me questions below so I can clarify things for you. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you back here next week. Bye guys. Okay, so final product though. Tuna with a ton of veggies, my big veggie bowl with a bunch of super air fried Brussels sprouts, and then reheated in the oven with honey mustard and red wine vinegar and tons of spices. Then we have calabaza squash, bonitas, red potato, and a little bit of Japanese sweet potato in there. And yeah, that is my wonderful dinner.